Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Mythgard in Middle-earth. My name is Corey Olson, the Tolkien professor, and I am back with you. So, it's pretty funny. I see a couple of you are just noticing the mistake I just made. It's been so long since I have joined you guys for my normal streaming session that I actually just started streaming totally on the wrong channel there. So that was good. Anyway, hi everybody. I'm back after holidays and a little bit of travel with my family and everything. I'm back here in my chilly basement in January and ready to be back with you and start off a new year. Of course, it was just Tolkien's birthday yesterday, his 127th birthday. So I hope you all get a chance to raise a toast to the professor yesterday. It's a very fun tradition. In the meantime, my friend Gryfflet has decided to hang out with some fairly cool people. He was down in the Rohirrim camp, but then heard news that there was more to be had up here with his friends the Eagles, and not needing a second invitation to revisit Landreval and Meneldor, he decided to come back up here. So he's just been hanging, forming this little tableau with them here. But anyway, Gryfflet up and at 'em. Time to get moving. All right. Cool. Phil, actually, I think that means Exploring the Lord of the Rings is 2 years old, actually, isn't it? Isn't this our second anniversary? Yesterday was our second anniversary? Yeah. No, must have been. I think so. Yeah, no, of course it was, because we've done like 80-something sessions. So, yeah. Yeah, that's, yeah, it's been what, 2 years, and we're not quite to the Ford of Bruinen. It's going to be good. Yeah, cool. Anyway, so welcome back. Thanks everybody. I did have a nice holiday. It was a pretty low-key holiday in a lot of ways. We were home for Christmas. My wife was working Christmas this year, so we were home for Christmas. We did a little bit of traveling over New Year's, which is why we were away, and I was doing other family things during the week and stuff. But pretty mellow, but pretty nice. Okay. Anyway, so let's see what Landreval has to say here, because this other quest ring appeared. Now, so apart from like helpful tips from other viewers and things, how is one supposed to know that Landreval has this quest? I mean, I was here, I checked in with him after I finished the Landreval quests, and then like in my absence, this quest popped up. But anyway, I have no idea. But anyway, here's Landreval.
A message was left for you while you were away.
A message was left? Who? Somebody, one of the men of Stangard just like randomly came to visit you? I mean, that's cool. I would too. I mean, obviously I did, but okay. An urgent matter in Stangard. Yeah. Ooh, there's a message to read. Hang on. No, I can't. A letter. I gotta open it? No, wait. Do I have to... Where is it? Oh, near Landreval at his clearing. Do I have to pick it up? Oh, there it is. It's lying on the ground. Okay. Okay. All right, that's good. That's good. All right. Now I've got the letter. Let's see. What does it say? News has come to us from Stangard. Who's writing this? News has come to us from Stangard. Who's the us? Who's first person in this letter? And your presence is urgently requested. Make haste to the northern gate of the city and speak to Saber, the gate guard. When you arrive, Saber has information for you. Wise would it be to refrain from openly discussing your contributions to us. Your help has been appreciated, but there are men in power who would curse you for your intervention. Okay, this from Penda. I see. Okay, so come to us because they're in the intermediate camp. Okay, right. And it would make sense that Penda would come here. I was wondering like why somebody from Stangard would just come to visit the Eagles.
It would be an honor to consider you a friend to the Eagles.
Oh, believe me,
Farewell.
The honor is all mine. And you, Meneldor. I'd rescue you from spiderwebs any day.
We must part ways now. May we meet again in better days.
Oh, that is excellent. Okay. Bye, eagles. Bye, eagles. Thank you for being the symbol of Signum University. Gotta go. Supposed to go talk to Sabert. Sabert. Saber. I know you're not supposed to pronounce it French because it's like an Anglo-Saxon name, but still it looks very French. Alright. Whoa. 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 Uh-oh. Look out. It's a Thinglad buck. They're wandering over here. Oh, man. Look at that. He's guarding the border of Thinglad. As if I would venture, dare to venture back there. Okay. Saber has come to the north gate? Oh. It's another Thinglad buck. No way. Help. Whew. Okay. Ooh. Oh, good. Back into the land of docile goats. Oh, it was dawn, but now it's not dawn anymore. I must be going back against the time zones here. Okay. North gate. Okay. So the north gate is the one that he was at. What's the other gate? But that's all right. I'll go back around. See, the first time I went through the Great River, I think I missed that, like, have to go back to Landreval for a second trip because I was like, boy, it was a real cliffhanger, the whole political situation in Stangard, you know, and I never, like, I'm like, how does that situation resolve itself? I don't even know. And that was me attempting and failing to be a completionist. All right. Okay, Saber, what do you have to say here?
Our mission is dire.
Okay. He peers around suspiciously. Something terrible has occurred. Things have grown even worse, though I can hardly believe this to be a possibility. Oh, dear. How have things grown worse?
The Rohirrim have need of your
Stanric has
services.
died. Oh, dear. He was as healthy as could be and on a mission to improve things, and for a time things were getting better. The men who supported Sithric slowly began to change their favor. Okay. Until suddenly, last night, Stanric is gone. Gada has committed treason and abandoned his post, and Sithric vows to arrest him and those who went with him on sight. They have set up an outpost at so Gada has just won't work for Sithric at all, huh? All right. I'll go find Gada. I know where he is. I remember his attachment to this abandoned farm here, so let's go down and find him. Okay. All right. Yeah, no, Druid's Fire I should be okay without a stealth healer for the political things. Really, and even the mobs around here, Gryfflet is still well above them, even though he's frozen his XP long since. What are the mobs here? 72? Yeah. And there's that adorable little donjon. Oh, I really want to go there. I think maybe I'll get my chance. First, I gotta stay away from all these rockworms. Might as well stay on the road then, I guess. It's hidden in the right direction, generally, yes. Okay. Okay, so as I'm riding to the abandoned farm, it's multitasking time. Anything you guys want to talk about? Any lore questions or anything you have for today? Any general topics of conversation you'd like to hear me talk about in addition to the game? I've only one holdover lore question. This was from a while back, but I've been missing it. Tekelvik was asking, what do I think Tolkien means by heart when he talks about, like, you know, but my heart tells me, for instance. Modern English uses heart as the seat of emotions, but that isn't universal. Yeah, no, exactly. That's a great question. First of all, let me just point out what a wonderful kind of question that is. It's so easy for us to take expressions like that and just kind of assume, right, that it means the same thing in these different contexts as it means when we use it. And of course, that isn't true. People use different expressions and concepts like that very, very differently. So how is it used in Tolkien? So let's think of some good examples. And my heart tells me that I shall not meet him again, right? One example of how heart is used. Think of some other examples. I'll talk to Gada here. You guys see on the chat, see if you can come up with some other examples of when heart was used in that kind of sense, not to actually... Is it ever used to refer to the actual bodily organ? I don't think so. I think it's only used in this sort of metaphorical sense. Yeah, we go Gandalf in chapter 2 saying that his heart tells me that Gollum will have a role to play, right? Yeah. See what examples you guys can come up with, and then let's see if we can draw a conclusion. All right. Gotta. Let me talk to you in the meantime.
Brings you to these lands?
Yep, got your message. Yeah, no problem. The only good that has come of this mess... Oh, my receiving your message is the only good that came of this. Okay. Stodrick is dead, and I cannot believe it was an accident. He was as healthy as a man that ever walked, and Sithric would not give particulars on how he died. Does sound a little suspicious, gotta have to agree with you. Okay, Tatooine and one other came with you. Great. Wasn't he the horse guy? The stable dude? Okay.
Our success depends upon
You hope to hold this farm long against the ills that befell Stangard. Well, it's not super defensible, Gata. It's on low ground without any defenses. But apart from that, I think you could hold it long. Or depending on your definition of long. Okay. This place can be a haven to all who come here. So you're going to set up your little commune here, right? Oh, that's good. That's fine. You've been gathering ore and wood. You want me to help you gather ore and wood? Sure, I can do that. Ooh. Oh, Tatooine has something here, too. What do you think here?
Will need your aid.
You've freed yourself from Stangard. Okay, you're a farmer in your heart. That's great. You want me to tend the farm for a while? Sure. Oh, hey, what could be better? I agree. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I'm looking for other examples. Ethelod says, suddenly he knew in his heart that they were silently commanding him to wait. That is Frodo at the ford of Bruinen. Yeah, good. Yeah, good. Other examples? No other examples? Well, even if you just do a quick search on an e-text or something, you could find some other examples. But even just thinking of those few examples that I've already mentioned, that is, the ones that I mentioned are Theoden, right, saying that in his heart he believes that he will not, his heart knows that he will not see Aragorn again, right? Look at that rat cheerfully bounding across the field. Maybe he's a pet. He looks friendly. Anyway. So am I harvesting here? What exactly am I harvesting? What is that? Pipeweed? Whatever it is. I've apparently gathered enough of it. Okay. And eggs. Probably down near the chicken coops, I imagine. Okay. People, so in The Lord of the Rings, people's hearts tell them things, right? They seem to gain, what would we say? Not just information, right? They don't glean information from their hearts. Wisdom, perhaps. It's interesting that in those cases, the heart seems to be in some cases a sort of, in a sense, a seat of judge. Oh, there's a fox right near the chicken eggs, of course. Oh wait, that's the workbench. It's just not eggs. Looking for more eggs. Hello, chicken eggs. Nothing over here. Oh, I see. Other side. In one sense, the heart, as I say, seems to be a source of insight, right? It is, Theoden's heart is what informs him that he's, what leads him to believe that he's not going to see Aragorn again, right? So he has a sort of a foretelling, at least a foreboding, comes upon him, right? And he attributes that to his heart. Like his heart, I guess, is perceiving something that he does not perceive with his sort of normal senses and normal mind, right? So in that sense, is the wisdom coming from the heart? Is the heart again? Is it kind of yeah. Let's see. Okay, three other examples. These are really fun examples. So Phil says, after ages alone in the dark, Gollum's heart was black and treachery was in it. Gollum's heart was black and treachery was in it. And then Ethelod says, so you have come, Gandalf. He said to me gravely, it's Saruman obviously, but in his eyes there seemed to be a white light as if a cold laughter was in his heart. Okay, so one sense in which heart is being used, and this fits with the two others here that Ethelod and Phil, thanks guy. Oh, wait, this is a different Phil. Two Phils who are pointing this out. So the other Phil says, talks about, yes, Aragorn talking about Caren Emroth being the heart of elfendom on earth. And Phil 7, I would connect that with the example that Phil Boswell was just pointing out, saying he wormed his way like a maggot into the heart of the hills, Gollum obviously, and vanished out of all knowledge, right? In both the sense of the heart of elfendom on earth and Gollum worming his way like a maggot into the heart of the hills, is to say the center, right? The core of something. So it is obviously very important. That seems like a silly thing to say, but that's actually not a given, right? It's possible that when people talk about heart, it doesn't necessarily have to mean it is a common association, but we shouldn't take it for granted, right? So we have two things, right? One, there is this wisdom or even perception that people's hearts seem to give them, right? We see several instances of that. We see a general usage of heart as the center or core or even essence of something, right? Okay. More examples. Good, yes, but you have been chosen and you must therefore use such strength and heart and wits as you have. That's really interesting. Strength, heart, and wits. So you've got to use your wits, meaning probably your intelligence, though wits in Middle English meant your senses, but probably he means it in the sense of intelligence. And so you've got your strength and your brains and your heart, which would seem to suggest, courage, right? Spirit, in that sense. Okay. Yeah, good. Yet sworn word may strengthen quaking heart, Gimli says. Thanks, Ethelod, for that one, too. That would seem to go with that last one, the strength, heart, and wits, right? In the sense of courage or spirit. Good, Phil. Ho, 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 to the bottle I go to heal my heart and drown my woe. Spirit, there again. I would say that that's heart used in the spirit sense. Presumably you're not going to the bottle in order to gain insight into the future or forebodings of that which is to come. Presumably. hang on a second. There's some more stuff I'm meant to do. Sorry, I'm like, I should be doing chores. I forgot. I thought I was done with my chores, but I forgot a whole set of chores. I'm collecting wood. Oh, wood and ore. Absolutely. Yeah, I did forget that. Okay, good. So we have, what, 3 senses? Some of which I think are clearly related to each other. That sense of being the core or essence. That sense of being that, again, that sort of seat of wisdom, or that perception of, well, I will just say the future. Again, thinking of Gandalf's usage and stuff, that was clearly in the sense of to perceive immaterial things, right? Yeah. So we can see, and by the way, in case you're wondering, the reason I'm asking you guys to do this is not only because I'm playing and so can't have the text open in front of me, but this is totally the only way really to answer this kind of question, right? And whenever I'm giving an answer to a question like this, it's not because I like there's an answer book somewhere that I've read or something. This is exactly the process, right? This is the not only the best, but in my opinion, the only process by which one can possibly answer questions like this. Good old inductive reasoning, right? Let's look at examples in the text and let's draw some conclusions about the overall patterns that we can discern in those usages. And it's a lot of fun, right? More. Okay, good. One fat Strider knows. Strider I am to one fat man who lives within a day's march of foes that would freeze his heart. Spirit again, right? Spirit again. Courage, clearly. Gandalf says, "Poor Bill has been a useful companion, and it goes to my heart to turn him adrift now." Goes to my heart. Now that's interesting, because that's slightly different. On the one hand, you could say courage, spirit again, but that seems to me different from the others. It goes to my heart would suggest a usage more in the line of, more like a sort of a modern usage, like we often talk about heart in the sense of emotions, especially tender emotions, right? Affection and things like that are associated with hearts. Just ask the Valentine's Day marketing folks about that. So, yeah, that's with that. I would sort of say maybe that's a kind of a subset of courage or spirit, but that's a little different, I think, and that's interesting. More. Let's see. Okay. Ooh, there we go. Ethelod, there you go, you found one. The last arrow of Legolas kindled in the air as it flew and plunged, burning into the heart of the great wolf chieftain. I think that may possibly be a usage of heart where it's actually referring to the physical internal organ, which I said I wasn't sure that there were any of. Now, you could say maybe that's not the internal organ actually, but in fact like the heart of the mountain or the heart of Elvendom, right? But I think it's certainly close enough there, right? I thought he felt his heart beat many times. There we go, a reference to heart beating. That's certainly an internal organ reference. Good, good. Excellent. More data. You can never have too much data when it comes to these things. So, quick, oh, hang on, I still need wood. About to wander out of wood territory. So one quick conclusion, or, yeah, preliminary conclusion, right? There are clearly several different senses in which Tolkien uses it. We do get that general sense of significance, right? It is very important. And that, again, seems like a really simple conclusion, but I think it's actually, it helps us a very great deal, because when we're talking about, when people are alluding to their hearts in the other senses, say the courage and spirit sense on the one hand, or the yeah, the courage and spirit sense in the one on the one hand, or oh, there's the last piece of wood, or the not the core, the other one, the foresight one, the sort of gaining wisdom or gaining wisdom about immaterial things. We don't totally lose that sense of the core, the essence, right? To know that these, that in having these kinds of insights, there's that sense of penetrating to the center of something, right? Like when your heart tells you things like this, whether it's telling you a specific thing, like it tells Theoden that he's not going to see Aragorn again, or whether it's a more general thing, like, or another specific thing that Gandalf is told by his heart that Gollum will have a part to play in this, or whether it's sort of a general foreboding or something like that. There's a sense of like your heart seeing to the, you're seeing to the core of something, right, that you can't see normally, and the spirit. The courage, right, is talking about this is essential to a person, to their actions, to their being, right? So I mean, there's some not exactly overlap, but the different usages really do kind of add up a little bit. Yeah, good. Now, yeah, so when Frodo looks up and his heart suddenly went cold, Phil Boswell, there I would say that's definitely courage and spirit, right? His heart went cold. That's not a reference to his bodily organ, right? That's a reference to his like courage being clamped down upon, right? His spirit is quashed by what he sees there. Ooh, Phil 7. That's really cool. I forgot about that one. Legolas told them tales of Lothlorien that the elves of Mirkwood still kept in their hearts. Yes. Yes. Kept in their hearts. Notice, Phil, how that has that sense of, like, the core thing, too. Like, in their, like, locked in the inner vault of their being is where they keep that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. It's different from, I think, any of the other usages that we've seen so far. But again, you see how these different usages kind of add up together, right? In the one sense, heart, in that sense, tales of Lothlorien, the elves of Mirkwood still kept in their hearts, is like memories, right? Like that they kept, that they retained in their memories. You could kind of paraphrase it that way on the one hand. And yet, notice you're losing something when you paraphrase it in that way. To say that they held in their memories is not the same as saying that they held in their hearts, right? It gives the usage of the word heart, especially in the context of having used the heart to talk about like the heart of elvendom on Earth, or even worming his way like a maggot into the heart of the mountains, suggests that, the memories that are retained by the elves of Mirkwood about Lothlorien are in some way, at their core, right? They're really important. There's more than just the retention of a memory that's happening here. There's the kind of cherishing of something deep within their being, which also potentially has to do with their own courage and spirits as well. So again, we can see all kinds of, again, I keep wanting to say overlap, but overlap isn't exactly the right, it's not overlap in like a Venn diagram sense, right? It's the ways in which these different meanings kind of inform each other, right? Yeah. Okay, let's see. Sorry, looking for other examples. Love them. Okay, Phil 7 was also saying the heart of Legolas was running under the stars of a summer night. Yes, Gimli is fingering gold in his mind, but Legolas's heart is running under the stars. That I would say is his spirit, right? But in a different sense, right? His own heart, his desire. So on the one hand, that's a way of saying two things at once, right? To say his heart is running under the stars is to say, A, he is remembering running under the stars, or he is imagining running under the stars, is sort of literally what is being conveyed there, right? Just as Gimli is in his mind fingering gold, right? So he's imagining things. Legolas is imagining things too, though especially in the context and that passage is not far from the passage where Legolas tells us about elvish dreams, right? Suggests that perhaps there's more to it than him just imagining in the same way that Gimli's imagining. But again, it's also about his own spirit, right? About his own will, about his own essence and courage. That he is, just as elves and elvish dreams, right, are refreshed by whatever their spirits do there, right, in elvish dreams. Like, they don't need to sleep. They don't need to refresh their bodies in the way that humans need to refresh their bodies. It's like they need to... Is this passage, in a sense, does that help us to understand maybe a little bit more about what Legolas was talking about when he talked about elvish dreams? Do they refresh their spirits in this way by sending their spirits to, you know, recreate in this kind of way, to relive things, to journey places in this sense? Anyway, yeah, really cool. Okay, let's see, more examples. True-hearted men, they will not be corrupted. Good, from Boromir then. True-hearted men. If they're true-hearted, that means that your spirit and courage is unwavering, right? And unwaveringly set towards uprightness and away from treachery, right? Towards truth. Their heart, their spirits are oriented towards truth unwaveringly, right? Is clearly what Boromir means when he says that. And so, I think we can see more than one meaning coming into effect here. On the one hand, again, it's like their wills. He's speaking of their wills, their spirits. Just like Frodo needs to use his strength and his wits and his heart, right? But it's also this is the essence of who they are, right? They are true-hearted. At their center, just as Caren Amroth is the heart of Elvendom on earth, so truth, right? Faithfulness is the heart of men. According to Boromir. So yeah, more than one. I love how these senses all kind of come together. And this is why, by the way, I'm always, whenever people do word studies like this, sometimes there's a temptation to kind of categorize and say, okay, here's like heart used in sense A and heart used in sense B and heart used in sense C, and then just to kind of separate them and just consider those separately, right? Which is valid in many ways. But it's not quite as simple as that, right? Yeah, good. Their hearts were of fire, but they were cloaked in darkness, and terror went before them. Yeah. And there, I think we're talking, you know, when we're talking about Balrogs, it's their essence, right? Their core is fiery. Cool. Lembas does put heart into you. Yes. Spirit.
Will you aid
courage.
the
Clearly. Good. See how much fun this is? Oh man, like every single instance of the word heart in The Lord of the Rings is like of interest, right? Once you start thinking about it, once you start looking at these overall patterns. Yeah, this would be a really fun, actually this kind of thing, really not just this particular word heart, but you know, you pick almost any like really kind of interesting and complicated word like this, right? And it's a really awesome moot presentation topic, by the way, right? I come to one of our regional moots and do a presentation on a word like this. You know, let's walk us through different instances and be thinking about the implications of those and how they work together. Really, really fun. Good. Oh, good. They keep coming. Let's see. Our hearts did not go on growing in the same way. Yes, good. Let's see. So when Treebeard says that of the Ents and Entwives, our hearts did not grow in the same way, meaning there he means their desires. In one sense, of course, he's talking about their core or essence, right? They diverged in what they were about, right? What mattered most to them. But it's also about their desire and wills, right? They wanted different things. They were interested in different things as well. And more from Treebeard. He calls the song lighthearted, quick-worded, and soon over. Yes, lighthearted. Lighthearted, quick-worded, and soon over. I'm pausing here not necessarily because not because I'm struggling to understand that phrase, but I'm trying to understand the use of heart that it is implying specifically. Because this is a critique, right? Treebeard doesn't, well, it's not that he doesn't like the song, but his criticism of the song is that it's lighthearted, quick-worded, and soon over, right? Those are the things he doesn't like about it. It's Elvish, which is fine and good in its own way, right? But it's not an Entish song. And the ways in which it's not Entish are that it's lighthearted, quick-worded, and soon over. Yeah, Rosie's thinking without worries. Yeah, that your heart is light. I mean, of course, obviously, that would mean the opposite of your heart being heavy, right? And so ultimately, I think it's about your spirit again, right? If your heart is light and merry, like we know to be true of elves, right? Especially elves of the tra-la-la-lolly variety, which is most of them, if not all, then that is light-hearted, right? And again, not a criticism, but unlike an Entish song would be, especially on this subject. Yeah, good. Let's see. Looking for more here. So now, if I'm not careful, I'll just end up talking about this and leave poor Tatooine hanging here. If thou hearest the cry of the gull on the shore, thy heart shall then rest in the forest no more. Legolas again, or Legolas's heart being the heart in question. Desires. Notice how now we're seeing several which are giving us a kind of a subset or a kind of a focus within the courage and spirit category, right? Not just referring to sort of will and courage in general, but desire specifically. Our hearts did not keep on growing in the same way, and also Legolas's heart. But I cannot cease to connect. I mean, I cannot resist connecting Galadriel's prophecy there, thy heart shall then rest in the forest no more. I can't forbear to connect that with the other passage we were thinking about when Legolas's heart was running in the forests on a summer day, right? I think that's what Galadriel would seem to be talking about there. That's what's not gonna happen, right? Yeah. Faithful heart may have froward tongue. Yes. Even if you are faithful in your heart, in the core of you, I would say that's a core or essence thing, right? Even if you're faithful in the core of you, you're faithful on the inside, you might be froward on the outside, right? A faithful heart may have froward tongue. I bet you got auto-corrected there, Phil. It's not, in fact, a forward tongue. It's a froward tongue. Froward. A word I have never successfully convinced Siri to let me type on the first go. Yeah, good. Okay. Let's see. fearless and high-hearted. Yep, of Eowyn, sure. Yeah, fearless and high-hearted. I feel like I can trace where you're going through. You're going through the list now, right? Okay, we're halfway through the Two Towers. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's see. And there was another one. Oh, yes, I do not know how it will all end, and my heart misgives me. Clearly, heart in that insight sense, right? Yeah, cool. All right, hang on. Let me get back to poor Tatooine here. But again, you know, as Tom Bombadil might say, that is the only answer, right? The only way to answer questions like that are to go to the text and look at the patterns. And I find this kind of challenge so much fun. I could do this all day long. I love drawing. That's why I'm in the business that I am in, right? Because I love drawing conclusions based on just, you know, gathering evidence like this, gathering data of this kind. You know, I was talking about this, you know, thinking about literary interpretation as data gathering and analysis. I was talking about that last time I was with you guys. This is exactly that in action, right? And you've got to put it in context. You got to see how it works. You know, you can't just collect them as like totally independent and arbitrary data points, because they're not. They're in a larger context, which I'm trying to give them, of course, as you'll notice as I'm going through each one. But you can definitely see how we see patterns, and then more and more complex patterns beginning to form, right? It's just like when you're a scientist collecting data and then you're trying to map it, right? You're trying to come up with equations which will explain all of the different data points that you have and show what are the patterns that they fit into. Yeah, good. Ooh, the work of our hearts. Yeah, that is really good. Oh, yes. We've got Feanor calling the Teleri faint-hearted loiterers. Yeah, sure. The work of our hearts, whose like we shall not make again. Of course, that's the Teleri answering back to Feanor in those same terms. Yeah. Faint-hearted clearly refers to their spirits. The work of our hearts, that work which is essential to us, but also work of our hearts is something which would also seem to partake of that first instance, right? That kind of perception of immaterial things, right? When something is the work of your heart, it is, I mean, even thinking here of Tolkien himself and his own work, right? And how he always talked about his work like it was a discovery, not an invention, right? In that sense, it's the work of his heart. Like those sort of foretellings and forebodings that are coming upon people, right? They are perceiving something immaterial, something invisible, but they're perceiving something with their hearts. And I think there's a sense in which the work of your heart, when a maker is talking about a thing being a work of their heart, that they maybe are using it in that same kind of way. Yeah, cool. All right. Well, like I said, I could do this all day, but I should probably not, because not everyone takes the same delight in discussions of words. I'll end this with a plug, though. If you do really enjoy discussions of words like this, a source that I strongly recommend is Sparrow Alden's blog, Words That You Were Saying. Words That You Were Saying. It's a quote from when Bilbo comes back in Chapter 1 of The Hobbit and says, "Pardon me if I have overheard words that you were saying." But that's her. That's the blog on which she has her full concordance of The Hobbit that she has made. What she's been building for years now has been an annotated concordance of The Hobbit, looking at every instance of every word in The Hobbit and thinking some about these kinds of patterns in words. And she's also done some broader studies using the Lexos tool that Michael Drout uses and the techniques that Michael Drout has been developing and his team down at Wheaton. Anyway, so she's been using some of those data analysis tools, and she's been using some just kind of looking at the context of different words and how different words come up in The Hobbit, doing lots of really, really cool word studies in The Hobbit there. So if you like this kind of thing, strongly recommend Sparrow's work. Really, really good. Okay. All right. But anyway, back to Tatooine. Hey, no problem. I'm glad you're getting back to the land, Tatooine, and everybody's enjoying themselves, and that you feel like you're creating you're in a better place.
What business have you
That's
with
really
the
good.
Rohirrim?
Hey, you know, just helping out. Very good.
The
The
Rohirrim
tower
will
near
need
here,
your aid.
yay, has long been under the control of men you don't consider trustworthy. You've seen many carts of goods enter full and leave empty. Things I believe intended for Stangard. Oh, man, so Sithric is using that place as a catch spot for... That's why Stangard... Oh, man, he's funneling off the supplies. That's terrible. Okay, go to find Switholf and see what he has to say. All right, I am so happy to go and explore. There it is. Oh, would you look at that? Okay, the tower's a little big, wall's a little short. So from this side, it's not proportioned like a perfect Norman keep, but it still really has a lot to recommend it. I mean, it would be like a mini little keep here, a little donjon. Oh, some nice ivy as we get closer. Yes. Ooh, does that... Those battlements... That's a serious overhang on those battlements up there. That's really interesting. And no crenellations or anything. Huh. That's fascinating. Looks more like a, you know, stage or platform up there than a defensive fortification. Also no plinths. As I say, which is a, you know, it's fine. But of course it's interesting to see almost a perfect Norman keep among the Anglo-Saxon inspired Rohirrim, right? I guess, you know, shouldn't criticize them for it not being exactly like the Normans would make it. Why should they go out of their way to do that? Okay.
Will you aid the horse lords?
All right. Yeah, I'm a friend of God. It's all good. Oh, right. So you're on our side. Excellent.
The
What do we got?
Rohirrim will need your aid.
Okay, there's much going on here that Stanric could not have known about when he was alive, for I'm sure he would not have approved. Okay. Evidence of Sithric's dire corruption. All right. Let's look for dire corruption. Hey there. Any corruption over here, dire or otherwise? Map of the Great River region is covered with markings and symbols indicating plans for the future. Oh, but there are missing chunks of map? Okay, so this is the Great River. And... Right. Alright, so we'll look for sections of map. What, do I have to kill folks to do that? Oh, wait. A blue fabric scrap. Oh dear. Oh, that's bad. Oh, blue fabric just can't be good. Hints of a conspiracy. Oh no. Hey, Tower Guy, I don't have to off you or anything, do I? I wouldn't like to do that, so that's good. Okay, oh, and a footlocker. Oh, look at all the footlockers. Oh, yeah, sorry. Can I do it now? Hi. Just a little burglar. Just burgling. Not burgling. I'm examining. Okay, nothing interesting here. Don't mind me, just opening everybody's locker. Okay. Nothing interesting here. Let's see. Oop. Oh, map fragments. Okay. Oh, good. Glad I don't have to go around slaughtering guards in order to try to find the people who have pieces of map. Okay. Ooh, Ethelot, that's a really interesting one. Ethelot is continuing with heart quotes. Out here in the waste, its terror was far greater. It pierced them with cold blades of horror and despair, stopping heart and breath. That is the terror of the cry of the Nazgul, of course. Stopping heart and breath is particularly interesting because on the one hand, the reference to stopping the heart seems to clearly indicate a reference to the actual organ, right? The actual beating internal organ. And yet it is also just as clearly referring to the spirit, right? As it is your spirit that would be quashed and your courage completely dampened by the cry of the Nazgul. So yeah, cool. All right, we're continuing to search here. Glad this guard doesn't object to my rifling through everybody's things. Okay. Whew. All right, but anyway, we had another lore question. Let me see. Okay. Finboga asks, and with that, Yahoy, the flames were under Gandalf's tree. In a moment it spread to the others. Does this mean the goblins have enchanted the fire, or do they just have good timing? The latter, I think, Finboga. I don't... Did I find them all? Oh, guess so. Great. I'll keep going up then. Yeah, I think it's just a timing matter. I don't see any reason to believe that is, there's nothing in the text that seems to me explicitly to suggest that there's any kind of, you know, supernatural hanky-panky going on with the fire there. In fact, not only, I mean, okay, on the one hand, it's magical fire in the sense that this is the fire that has spread from Gandalf's own pine cones, right? So, it's, was this flag of note? Huh. Used by archers to determine range and wind conditions. Okay. Sure. That sounds like fun. See, I could hit a goat from here. All right. Let's look. It is rather a nice view. I love those hills. But I think, what, I'm not close enough to the edge for you? Oh, I'm still looking at the flag. Okay, sorry. No. No. I'm looking at the distance just like that guy is. Ooh, the ruins looking good from here. But apparently not. These are not the battlements we're interested in. Hi. You're on this overhang here. I'm just going to be looking out and see if it's going to do me any good. Don't think so. Here? Ah. Good place to look for flags. I see a flag. Hark. A flag. Lo. To the north and northwest. Ah. Oh. Ah. I'm now following you. Right. So they're getting the range for their archers, and the range is towards Stangard. That's the point. Yes. Okay. Got it. I am so tracking with you now, Quest. Okay. What was I talking about? I was talking about Finboga. Right. Yeah, so the fire, although it does start from Gandalf's pine cones, I really don't think that there's any reason to think that it's magical. I mean, once the fire spreads, it seems to be pretty much normal fire. The main thing the text emphasizes is that goblins are not afraid of fire like the wolves are, so they're happy to, work with it, which they do, of course, to the great discomfiture of the others. And You know, are the goblins, is the goblins Yahoy song, you know, inducing the fire to spread? You know, it's interesting. I don't think I ever really thought of that, but I don't think so. I think that it's just timing. It's a reflection of them enjoying what's happening rather than necessarily causing it to happen directly, if you see what I mean. Okay. I'm looking at barrels and kegs, seeing if there's anything blue in that keg, I suppose. Now, Squirrel was asking, is there a named character that was evil and turned to be good again? Yeah, somebody answered this. Uanin answered this. Boromir, yes, I would definitely point to Boromir as an example here. This is, I believe, what Aragorn means when he says you have conquered. Few have gained such a victory. I mean, yes, on the one hand, he's referring to the orcs, but there's more to it than that, right? And Gandalf also says that Boromir escaped in the end. And again, I think that what Boromir, you know, obviously he doesn't escape from death, right? But I think he does escape sort of from condemnation. So it's somebody sleeping it off in there. Okay, there was nothing. Oh, wait. A dead rat. Hang on. Oh, dear. Contorted. Uh-oh. A poisoned rat. By itself, not hugely suspicious. Okay. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, Boromir. A blue robe in the barrel. Oh, man. Yeah. Definitely going to tell him about those blue robes. Blue robes. It's just what I was afraid of. All right, let's see if we can find any evidence of poisoning. Poisoning would seem relevant under the circumstances. Now, Eric says, was he really evil? We'll see. That, of course, raises the interesting question, right? What does that even mean, to say, was he really evil? He had turned to evil, right? He had tried to take the ring from Frodo. That was an evil act. You know, is that enough to say Boromir is evil now? See, the problem is that's essentially, that's a kind of binary thinking that I think the text doesn't generally support. Ah, here we go. Time to look in the supplies. You know, the text doesn't really break people down into good guys and bad guys in that way. Like, you know, does Boromir, you know, change his hat and become a bad guy, you know, after being a good guy? Is, again, I think, at least in part, well, certainly to oversimplify things, and in part kind of to miss the point. Ooh, herbs. Poison herbs. Oh, dear. So, Boromir. Right. A glass. All right. Anyway, so the point is, Boromir did something very wrong. That is what is important, right? What is important is not, can he be considered in some kind of holistic way good or bad, right? Good or evil. The point is, what direction was he facing, you know? And Boromir was facing the wrong direction, right? He had turned himself away. He was not true-hearted, to use his own word that we just recently discussed, anymore, right? Truth was no longer in his heart. And you can see this in many of the things that he says there. He has turned, but he turns back. And he turns back almost immediately. It doesn't take anything away from the significance of what he did in trying to take the ring from Frodo, right? But he definitely turned back. So let's see. And yes, and even Frodo took the ring for himself and was only saved by Gollum in the end. Yes, Frodo also turns to evil in the end. So you could say Frodo too is redeemed in the as Boromir was redeemed. In a sense, actually, you could even say that Boromir did more than Frodo did, right? Because Frodo didn't turn back until he was out of the grip of the ring. Now, this is totally unfair, right? Because the duress, the spiritual duress that Frodo was under was amazingly intense, right? And Tolkien many times emphasized Frodo could not have done better than he did. Like, he did that he got as far as he did before succumbing to the almost irresistible pressure of the ring was absolutely heroic. But he did not have the strength. It was not possible for Frodo to do more than he did. So Boromir fell much more easily than Frodo, much sooner in the process than Frodo did, certainly. But yeah, so Eric, the question of orcs, trolls, and things like that. Now, again, I'm not sure if we got the full question from who was this Squirrel before. Specifically specified named characters that were evil and turned to good again. And I take that to exclude things like orcs and trolls. Orcs and trolls are a different category of complicated, right? But I think when we think about named characters, I have one. How about Sauron? No, he didn't turn back completely, but the Silmarillion does say that after the fall of Morgoth, he repented, and that it's possible that his repentance, though brief, was sincere. And then he fell back into his old ways, right? So it's possible, as I say, that Sauron himself could be, in a sense, an example of this. All right, I will show God all this terribly damning evidence we have collected here. So anyhow, what I would say is it is clear that Tolkien's world believes in repentance, right? It is possible for someone who has begun to walk down the path of destruction, right? That folks like Morgoth and Ungoliant and Sauron and Saruman ultimately walk down, right? Even if you've set off down that path, you can still turn back. It is clear that Gandalf still wants to believe that Saruman could repent and turn back. He wants to believe that Gollum could repent and turn back, right? And there seems to be even a brief chance that Gollum will do that. So is repentance possible? Yes. Do we have many examples of that? No, we don't have huge examples of that. Of, somebody who was, a major bad guy who becomes a major good guy. We don't have too many examples of that. But we do have some significant examples of repentance in action. Enough that I think it clearly shows. And again, even Gandalf's own hopes, right, show that he at least believes it to be possible, and I think he's probably not fooling himself about that. Yeah, Lotho. Well, Lotho didn't really get much of a chance to repent. He got a chance to regret his choices, not necessarily to... we don't know that he repented of them before his death, but Lobelia does repent, right? Well, she changes. Anyway, it's not quite as simple, right? Her perspective is altered by her experience. And so she becomes a nicer person, right? And reconciles with people that she, becomes nice to people that she was nasty to before. So it's a kind of repentance, but it's a little bit less. Again, and there's not the same sense that Lobelia was walking on the path to destruction, that Ungoliant and Melkor had walked down before. But perhaps in a small scale, we could say something like that. Yeah, cool. All right, let's see. Hey, Gata.
Will you aid the Horse Lords?
I found more dire evidence. Was the evidence I found more dire than you expected, or did I find more evidence that was dire than you expected? Probably both, right? Okay. Our new mission here. Okay. You want me to help one last time? Sure. Yeah. If you return to Stangard, it will be my death. Stanric was my commander. I fear there was treachery involved. I suspect so too. Okay. You want me to go back and investigate? Sure. I can even sneak. Yeah, let's get to the bottom of this. By all means. Okay. Cool, let's see. Oh, right. Okay, oh. Phil 7. Where did Meme and the Petty Dwarves come from? That is such a good question. Which is super unclear in the text. Let me specify. So I should start with my traditional answer. I don't know. We have very little data on that. Here is my general understanding of the thing. My general understanding of the thing is that Tolkien's ideas on dwarves changed over time. Originally, they were all kind of petty. Remember that one of Tolkien's, sort of major sources, one of his major inspirations was Norse mythology, and dwarves in Norse mythology are not heroes, as Tolkien says of dwarves in The Hobbit. They are greedy. The original dwarves, the very first dwarves Tolkien ever described in the Silmarillion material, were merchants, not makers. They weren't even smiths. They didn't make stuff, really anything. They were merchants primarily. They were all about the profits. They were not about the making, as I say. And they were playing both sides. They were arms dealers to both the elves and to Melkor. They were just profiteering based on the war opportunity. That was the role of the dwarves in the very first concept. They were children of Morgoth. They were like the orcs. So all of the sort of nice things that we think about the dwarves, the dwarves as sort of flawed but fundamentally noble and at least potentially heroic kinds of characters as we get to know them, certainly after we get to know Gimli, really that they've kind of grown into by the end of The Hobbit, honestly. As the Hobbit story grows and as Thorin Oakenshield's role changes over the course of the Hobbit book, the new dwarves are really kind of starting to come into focus there. Tolkien's introduction of the Petty Dwarves, which was much later in the Silmarillion tradition, seems to be, in a sense, I'm tempted to call it Tolkien's desire to have his cake and eat it too, right? On the one hand, dwarves had become something else, right? The long beards and the House of Durin had grown into something quite different from the original venial, at best, certainly morally questionable, grasping dwarves that we got in the early Silmarillion tradition. But he didn't totally want to lose that, right? It's like he still wanted to keep that to some extent. Meme is in some sense a throwback, right? He's like a throwback dwarf, really. So you can think of the Petty Dwarves, I think of the Petty Dwarves, I should say, as sort of retro dwarves, right? Tolkien's desire to hold on to at least one story in which the dwarves kind of act like they did back in the old days, right? In particular with the cursing, right? The curse of Meme was such a big, important part of the story later on. And Meme putting curses on stuff, you know, was a big deal. Him seeking vengeance and the whole House of Ransom element of the Turin story. This is Turin interacting with, in a sense, kind of old school dwarves. Yeah, Phil asks, is this one of his typical retcon moves where he has scraps of contradicting tales lying around and he wants to keep them all? In a sense, yeah. I mean, he, in one sense, no, in that he wasn't keeping, it's not like he was retaining old material. It's more like old concepts. So it's not old stories or passages, right, of written text. It's more concepts, right? That old idea of dwarves, I think, had not totally died in his heart, despite the fact, in his heart, right? Despite the fact that the dwarves had kind of grown and evolved as a concept. Yeah. Okay. Hey, Saber.
What business have you with the Rohirrim?
Okay, things are not well. Okay. Oh, so I'm supposed to ask folks. So am I trying to gather data about the murder? Oh, hey, Kiriana. Or am I trying to determine the loyalty of individuals? I suspect the latter. Hey, okay, Mr. Stealing food to feed the dogs. What do you have to say?
What business have you with the Rohirrim?
Stanric seemed healthy. Yeah. He kept talking about me? Oh, dear. Okay. Okay. Positive things about Stanric. Just as he grew inspired to incite change. Right. That would seem convenient. I'm supposed to go door to door here? Hi there, going door to door just to hear what you have to say about Stanric. Oh, anybody home? Hi. No? Nobody home? Okay. Just doing a poll. Thought you might be willing to fill out this little survey about Stanric and his death. Okay. Who do I need? I need Wada. Who's this? Oh, it's Tetwina's house. Hey, is there anything he needs me to pick up for him or anything? Okay, who's in here? There's somebody in the skirmish hall. I mean, I know there are people in the skirmish hall, but one of those named characters. Isn't there somebody up here? Am I misremembering? Maybe I'm misremembering. Oh, apparently. Unless there's a third story I don't remember how to get to. I thought there was somebody in here. No? Okay. I'm not sure what I'm remembering. Yeah, see, Madman Mallow, just because I'm a burglar doesn't mean, you know, you should be uncomfortable about me entering your house unannounced. Whoa.
Will you aid the horse lords?
You agree with Gata? Yeah. Stangard was standing up right before he died. Who's that dude? Wah! Creepy dude getting into my personal space. Okay, I'll let you carry on. Look, that's it. Okay, now I know there was somebody in the walk house. Oh, no, I can't get in, huh? Can't even talk to him. Okay, I need Adalbert and Uthrad and Burinstan. Alright, we'll look up by the mead hall here. Yeah. Just because I'm a burglar doesn't mean you should object to me breaking into your house, right? I mean, that obviously makes sense. Okay. Could Boromir can be considered a burglar wannabe? No, see, he didn't burgle. To burgle means you break into the house and you steal stuff. I mean, not that I just was doing that, but which is why Bilbo's a burglar, because breaking and entering was his job, right? He was supposed to burgle Smaug, so he was supposed to sneak into Smaug's house and steal stuff. So that's why when he burgled the Golden Cup, he was fulfilling his mission, right, as burglar. But, you know, was he a thief? Well, he wouldn't have agreed with that, right? But that's why, of course, Gollum is accusing Bilbo of being a thief, though you could say that he burgled Gollum as well, technically.
What do you need?
Come along nice and quietly to the lock house. Okay, I think I know where... Oh, I'm supposed to fight him? Oh. Okay. I mean, I can do that. Hey, don't mind me, townsperson. You just walk right between us. It would be best to move along quick. Cannot win. Hi, Bernstone. You didn't see that, did you?
To these lands?
Okay. All right. Boynstone withholding judgment. Hi, Adalbert.
What is this world coming to?
Oh, you're arresting me too. Hey, you didn't see me just knock that other guy out like nothing? Burgling isn't evil. See, Eric, now that's a tricky question, right? It really depends upon whom you're burgling and why, right? So for Bilbo to be a professional burglar, right? If you're sneaking, I should say, into a dragon's den and reclaiming the stolen treasure for its proper owners that was stolen by the dragon, that's not evil, right? Yeah. No problem. No problem at all. Oh, wait, no. Stablemaster is not what I want. Who do I want? Sub-Air, that's who I want. Okay.
Will you aid the horse lords?
All right. Ordered guards to arrest me. Well, 40% of the guards I approached wanted to arrest me. Yeah. You're beginning to grow roused. Uh-oh. Sub-Air's gonna start singing like Treebeard. Yeah, let's not stop the investigation.
Will you aid the Rohirrim?
Investigate Stanric's house. But don't be seen. Oh dear. It's just like the old mail quests. Alright. We're sneaking. I'm assuming the rumor monger would be bad. Sneak over here. Okay. No one will see me coming. I'm gonna just be a stealthed investigator. Oh, okay. Oh, so that townsperson who just sauntered through our fight without blinking his eyes is now all hot and bothered about this? Okay, you'll never spot me over here, townsperson. Okay. Quick, cross the street. Go, go, go. Okay. Oh, there he is. All right. Phew. Made it. Okay. Phew. All right. Wait, what did I see? Something on the floor. It's a bear. No. There's a glinting object on the floor. Oh, it's a key. It might unlock doors in the lock house. Might it? It might unlock his, you know, diary or something, or, you know, his... Okay. Asked Kindred why his jail keys were on the floor of Stanric's home. Really? That sound like a good plan? Oh, Eric's still wanting to follow up on Boromir. Great. Okay, so Boromir's intent to use the ring was for good and not for evil, right? No. Well, see, that's his rationalization. But it's obviously a rationalization, right? And you, as you can tell from, you know, the whole means and ends situation, right? I'm just gonna go overland here because there are fewer spying eyes down this way. Yeah, so Boromir wants to convince himself that he's taking the ring for good, right? But the ends don't justify the means. And if you are acting the way that Boromir is acting, right? For I am too strong for you, halfling, right? Then that should tell you that you're not doing the right thing,
to these lands?
right? Okay, Sithric tells me I will be committing treason if I tell of what passed. Okay, Stanric is not dead? What? Okay, yeah, let's... Woohoo! You left the clue on purpose? You sly dog. Stanric!
Will you aid the Horse Lords?
Yeah! Woohoo! That's great!
The Rohirrim have
Lying,
need of your
greedy,
services.
power-hungry traitor. Yeah, don't hold back. You must have justice for what was done here. Time up for you. Stand up for what is really right. Okay. I will absolutely free you from this. What do I do? Oh. Instance time. Ooh. Instant time when I'm out of time. Wait, Eric, I'm not understanding your question, so I'll follow up here. Since there's no black and white evil versus good, I never said that. Never said that at all. What I'm saying is it's not so easy just to categorize people as good guys or bad guys. It's not true in the case of the orcs, but I'm talking about categorizing people, not categorizing actions. Of that, there's some quite clear blacks and whites as far as that is concerned. It's just putting people into those categories that's difficult or challenging. Yeah. Yeah, and I agree. Let's see. Yes, Coldfell's Warden. He was already showing his susceptibility to the ring's influence. Yes, he was. Yes, good. Yeah, awesome. Okay, anyway, I should probably go. So I'll start with the instance next time. I don't remember how long the instance is, and I'm in, my kids are back at school, so if I don't stop on time, I'm going to be late to pick them up, so I shouldn't do that. Anyway, thank you for joining me here today. Good to be back with you. I will be back again next week. I'll be gone the week after that because, I meant to announce, Texmoot is coming, right? We are 2 weeks away from Texmoot now. So if you're in Texas and want to come join us, you totally should, because it costs almost nothing and is really it's going to be a great day. We're going to be in Waco, Texas on the 19th, Saturday the 19th of January. So if you're anywhere in any of those Texas areas that are sort of near Waco, so you're in Austin or Dallas, Fort Worth or Waco itself or anywhere around in there, certainly, come join us, because it's going to be great. Going to be a great day of academic stuff and fan stuff, and it's going to be really neat. Go to texmoot.org for more information, or just go to signumuniversity.org and scroll down a little bit for our Texmoot event page as well. Registration's still open for a little bit less than a week, actually. We're going to close registration next Thursday, so on the 9th. So if you think you might be able to come, which you should totally register now. Anyway, yeah, Maven, Tolkien Maven is going to be there. She's going to be doing a paper at Texmoot, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Anyhow, so let's but that does mean 2 weeks from today I won't be here, because I'll be already down in Texas. So thanks everybody for joining me here today, and I will see you guys next week. Bye now. Stay tuned for Druid's Fire, who's going to be joining you in her slot here coming up next. As I say, thanks so much to Druid's Fire for minding my time slot here while I've been gone for the holidays the last couple weeks. So thanks, Druid's Fire, and stay tuned for that. See you guys soon. Bye. Thanks for joining in on my rambles around Standing Stone's brilliant digital adaptation of Tolkien's world. If you enjoy these adventures, please consider supporting this and other entertaining educational programming by donating at signumuniversity.org/fund.